Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make a coded door in Roblox. So in order to open this door right here, you're going to have to type a code into this panel in order to open it basically. So if we play right here, as you can see, we can open the door and it has sound effects too. But basically it beeps and it kind of shows us the code. So it kind of showed us up there. So I think it said something like yellow, green, yellow, purple or something. Oh, we got it wrong. So green, yellow, green, purple. Okay. So green, yellow, green, purple. And then it corrects and it says it's correct and it opens the door and we can go through. Obviously, we could just go around. So on your map, you're going to want to make a better map. But that's basically how it works. And so, yeah, in this video, you're going to learn a bunch of things like logic, click detectors, and tweening. So let's get straight into it. Alright guys, so I've opened up a new base plate and the very first thing that we're going to need to do is make the actual keypad model. Now, here it is ungrouped and basically I'm just going to kind of dissect it and show you every part of it. So if we kind of just pull the door out, you can see it has some buttons. So when you make yours, you're going to want to make yours with a bunch of buttons. You can make really as many buttons as you want. You're just gonna have to code it in a way that will support all the buttons, or like you know what I mean. So you're just gonna have to change your code depending on how many buttons you have. But I have, I have 6 buttons and they are all colored differently. You could use numbers instead and like put a decal on there. It doesn't really matter as long as you name all of your buttons differently. You should be good. And also I made a code giver, which basically is the thing that will change color to kind of show like the code that you're gonna do, like not the scripting, but like the code you need to type in, obviously. And then yeah, and then I have this part here, it's kind of just floating, but basically it is the open prompt, or like the proximity prompt, so you can like open the door. And basically this is actually attached to this door, or like it moves with the door because of this, which is the hinge. And basically all I did was I welded this part and this part to this hinge. And basically the whole idea is we're able to rotate the hinge with a tween, and basically it will move this handle and this door with it, to make it look like the door is opening smoothly. And so I'll show you how to script that in this later. But yeah, as you can see, I created a weld constraint, 2 weld constraints that both kind of attach to it. And make sure that this hinge is anchored, but make sure that these 2 parts are not anchored. The rest of the model should be anchored as well, but make sure these 2 parts are not anchored if you're going to add them. But yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about the model though. These covers are just part of the model, same with the back. But yeah, just make sure you make some buttons and name them differently, and then make a door and a hinge. And if you don't know how to weld, basically all you do is you just go to the model tab here and you go to the create part, and then you just click weld, and basically it will create a weld from the part you're currently selecting. Or if you're not selecting a part, you'll select a part and then you can just go ahead and select any other part. I'm just not gonna do this right now. Oops, I accidentally welded it to the base plate. I can just delete that. But yeah, basically you just want to weld your stuff, and yeah, anyways, that is how you kind of make the model. So now I'm just gonna group all this back up, because you want to make sure it's grouped so it's easier. And the next thing that we need to do, I'm just gonna name this keypad, and the next thing we need to do is add a script to it. Also, by the way, here are the sound effects. Feel free to get your own sound effects, but I just took these from the toolbox. These are the names of them. So we have like a denied sound, a granted sound, and when the door opens, and then the beep sound for the code giver. So yeah, we can just put all these inside of the model. Again, you can just get them from the toolbox, or you can make your own or find your own, whatever you want to do. But yeah, and then all we need to do is add a script to this, and I'm just gonna call this the keypad handler, I guess. Yeah, keypad handler. And then yeah, so now that is basically, we're all set pretty much, and now we need to script. And then oh yeah, we also need to add a door in, so I'm just gonna quickly get that. Alright guys, so I've pasted in the model I had before here, and you just can put your keypad up against it or whatever. But the main thing is you're just gonna want to have a door. I named this one metal door. Just don't mind these textures, it just makes it look better, I guess. But just add something and name it door or whatever you're gonna call it, and then yeah, then you can kind of reference it in your script. But yeah, now with all that set up, we should be good to just go ahead and start scripting. So yeah, so the first thing we need to code is our buttons, basically. So we need to make it so they can detect when they're clicked, so we can use these click detectors. So that's what I'm going to code, and I'll get back to you and explain what it does. Okay guys, so I just typed out a lot of code here that will allow our buttons to be clicked, I guess. So yeah, they don't really do much yet, however, but yeah, I'm just going to explain what all this does. It looks like a lot, but it's extremely simple and repetitive. So I just defined every single button. Now there's probably maybe a more efficient way of doing this, but I find that it's kind of the easiest. And then I defined all the colors of the different buttons, and this will come in handy later. This code here is basically randomly generating the code that we need to type in. This will also come in handy later. And then basically code entered. So this is basically tracking what buttons we have pressed. And basically, yeah, I'm just gonna talk about that in a second as well. And then also the total amount of code we've entered, and then this beep sound, which just happens whenever we click a button, and then showing code. So this is for later. This has nothing to do with this right now, but yeah, basically for every button I made a separate dot mouse click event or function, I guess. So basically, yeah, oh yeah, all these variables are just the click detectors, by the way, of the different buttons, not the buttons themselves, but the click detectors in them. But yeah, anyways, so basically, all these are basically the same function, just for a different button. And basically, if the mouse clicks, then if not showing code, which basically, if it's not trying to tell the player what the code is currently, then it will allow them to click the button, and basically it'll play the beep sound, and it will insert in the code entered which button they press. So I assigned a number to each one, so it'll insert 1 here, 2 here, 3 for blue, whatever, right? But basically, this is how we can kind of track what code they entered, and then at the end, when they've entered all the code, which we will detect by the total entered, which we're just changing by 1 in each of these. And basically, once the total entered gets to 4 in the future of this script, we will basically go through the whole code entered and then see if it matches this random code that was generated. That's basically the whole idea here. But yeah, that is it for that code. And yeah, so the next thing that we need to script is the code giver and the door. So now what I want to do is make it so that when we, play the game and we activate this proximity prompt, it actually ends up opening the door, and then it also ends up showing us the code through the code giver, like what code we need to type in, on the code giver up there, like if we take away the door on this white code giver. So that's what I'm going to code next, and I'll get back to you when I'm done coding it. Alright guys, so I just finished writing out the code. So up here we have a few variables that I wrote out. So the first one is the prompt. This is just the proximity prompt that is in the prompt part or something. I don't know. It's somewhere in here, but yeah, it's basically in the open prompt part, which is like the handle of the door. And then we also defined the code giver, the hinge, and then tween service along with the open sound and whether the door is opened. We just kind of define that as a Boolean. And then down here, I wrote out this function which opens the door. So basically, when we activate the function, it detects if it's already opened, and then what it does is it plays the open sound if it isn't opened, and then it does a tween here. And basically, the tween happens on the hinge, and basically it's just a sine tween, and basically it just turns it negative 110 degrees. If you don't know how tweens work, there's a lot of tutorials out there, but this kind of jumbles it into one line. Maybe I could have made that cleaner, I can already see the devs mad at me, but that's all right. And then it sets opened obviously to true because we're opening it here. And then I also made this activate function, which will activate everything once the proximity prompt is triggered. So basically, if it's triggered, it will activate this function, and then basically it will set showing code to true. So basically, showing code is basically whenever it's beeping and showing the colors that you need to type in with the code giver. And basically it will open the door when it's activated, and then it will start showing what the code is here by setting the code giver's brick color to the colors like code or whatever. So basically in this code here, I don't know, it's sort of hard to explain, but basically it's getting the color from the colors variable that is the code's number, I guess. So basically it's going into the colors table and finding which color corresponds to the first number in the actual randomized code. So for example, if this math.random went to 3, then it would be really blue, because if we do 1, 2, 3, then it's really blue, I guess. And then it does that for all 4 digits of the code, or all 4 values, so all of these math.randoms in the code, basically, if that makes sense. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. And then at the end, it just sets the code giver's color back to white, just to make it blank again. And then it sets showing code to false, because we've finished showing the player what code they need to type in, and now they need to type it in. So if we play the game right here, as you can see, we can open it and it will start beeping at us, showing us the random code. And I know it looks like it doesn't change, like sometimes, like it looks like it beeps twice with the same color, but that's because the randomizer chose the same color twice in a row. So you could probably add more feedback to that to make it more noticeable that it's 2 colors in a row, instead of just showing the same color. But yeah, so the next thing we need to do, and the final thing we need to do really, is kind of check what they type and make sure that it's right. And if it's wrong, we will, re-show them what code they need to type in, so then they can type it in again. And yeah, so that is what I'm going to type in next. Alright guys, so I just completed the rest of the script here. I'm gonna go back up because I wrote out 2 variables. It's just for the sound effects. So I made a denied sound effect. Well, I didn't make it, I took it from the toolbox, but yeah. And then also I took a granted sound effect, so this is just like the sounds for it. So if you get it wrong, it's gonna deny you. If you get it right, whatever. But yeah, and then all I did in the rest of the script was just write this down here below this, and basically it just waits until the code entered is 4. So it waits until all the player has clicked 4 buttons after it shows the player what code they need to type in. And then after that, it basically checks the code. So it checks the code entered in this for loop, and it sees, okay, for each value, it sees if the code is the same, basically. So if the value in the code entered is the same as the code in the index, basically. And then if it's not, then it will just and then if it's not, it will just deny you. It'll just say red, basically. So if it's not all right, then yeah, it's just access denied or whatever, and it will break the loop. But if the code entered reaches 4, or it loops through this 4 times or whatever, then it will say that it's right, and then basically it will grant you, and then you will be able to go through the door, and it will just play a tween, which this is kind of a big tween, but basically it just it's the metal door in the workspace, and then basically it just makes the position equal to the door's position plus 8 on the y-axis. And again, I could have made that more organized, but whatever. If you don't know how to do tweens, again, go check out some videos or something. It's pretty easy, but yeah, basically that's all the code, really. Yeah, it will just restart if you get it wrong. So it'll just redo the function, and it will just stop the other function, and it'll just redo it. It won't reopen the door though because we have the opened value, remember? But yeah, that's basically all the code. That's all it should be. And so now we can go into workspace, or we can just go here. Let's get into first person, I guess. And if we test it out, orange, blue, blue, orange. So orange, blue, blue, orange. All right, there we go. So yeah, that is all of our code completed. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I think it's definitely a basic concept, but when you really look into it, there's kind of like some logic you kind of need to look through. It's pretty interesting, I think. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a like and sub. And also, if you need any help or have any questions, join my Discord server and I will be able to help you. It's still growing, so yeah, thank you for the support. But yeah, and also feel free to follow my Twitter. I don't have anything on there yet, so whatever, but you could just follow it anyway if you want. But yeah, anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. So bye.